Hello there. So it's Fiona. Hi. I know I was told off that I don't put myself in camera. I would have thought that was a plus, but okay. Doing something I've never done before. So from my local Poundland shop, I know, name dropping, transfer paper. Okay. You put it through, you get a picture, I know, and you put it through your printer and you print it off. Now I must admit that it did sort of lose the colour. I don't know why I did two. Oh, I did a test print. Put that down there. Okay, so what I've got here is a piece of fabric folded over, and I want to make sure that this is the right side up. Okay, now I've got my iron on, and when I'm happy, then I'm going to iron it. I know. Now I've never done one of these before, so it's going to be an experiment. But my iron isn't set very hot actually. Let's have a little look. No. And I'm definitely not steaming it, it's just a hot iron. Okay, so now I must admit I did print it off a couple of days ago, and my thought is at the minute is that I should have used it straight away because it did feel a bit tacky, a little bit sticky, but I didn't get a chance, so I oh no, it is going. So we're going to make sure we've got the corners, because I think that's the most important part. One of my neighbours has got fireworks. So, it's definitely stuck down, and you can see now it's peeling off. It's not brilliant, but then that could be my skill as an ironer. You think I'm joking? Yes. So if it is sticking, then I'm just going back over it with the iron, and then I'm starting to peel again. So yeah. Yeah, you really do need quite a hot iron for this, I think. Now the bag I'm going to make out of this is pretty much a standard tote bag for me. I have feelings about strength of these bags. I wouldn't just sew a rectangle together. I have a piece of banding that I am going to sew on round the bottom. Okay, well that's that. I must admit, it's worked better than I thought, although I probably wouldn't be happy putting it through the washing machine. and maybe off-white was not the colour to use. But as experiments go, you can see what the pattern was to start with, can't you? So I'm going to get my iron switched off and out of the way so it can cool off. And let's get on with the sewing. We can do that part, can't we? Now, oh, they're really quite close. Yes, it is Friday night, so, and it's 10:30, so we can let them off. But I don't think it's any holiday or anything. Now, one thing I always like to do when I'm doing a tote bag, whether it's a simple one that's not lined or, you know, just a plain emergency shopping bag, is I like to put a pocket on the rim. Now, there's two reasons for this little pocket. One of the reasons is I like to have a pocket in the bag so that if I've only got that bag, if I'm popping out and I don't need my handbag, then I've got somewhere to put my car keys so that I don't lose them. But another reason is that you can put the bag together so that you can stuff it in the bag. Oh, I'm not making any sense, am I? Okay, so I've got my sewing machines all ready to go. First of all, I'm just doing this little pocket so that I can either stuff the bag in or that I've got somewhere to put my keys. And this is just personal, it really is. So I'm going to leave a bit over the edge, and I want my seam on the inside. And this bit that I'm not sewing is so that I can sew it into the waistband of the bag. So, yes, it's really telling me, this machine, that it wants a little bit of oil. Yes, and it can have one tonight when it goes to bed. So I think this is the last tote bag that I was planning to make, although while I've been making the tote bags there has been a couple of, oh, I should have done one like that sort of thing. So, but that's good. It means that I'm not going to run out of things and I can come back to it, you know, next time, next year, and I can do those other little bags. So, but I do tend to do a sort of series of things and then work through. So I've got two strips of fabric here. This is one to go around the bottom of the bag, and the other one is for the handles. So let's just measure these up. Now it's going to have nice long handles, and they're going to be nice and thick, because sometimes they can cut your hands, can't they? But the bag itself, we know it's A4 because we did the A4 print on it. So it should be able to take a file. Now, I have just unplugged my handles again. Sorry, unplugged my sewing machine. And the way I'm doing it is I'm folding it in half and then I'm tucking my loose ends in. Now there are several ways you can do it, the handles that is. One of the ways is to fold it over and then sew it and turn it inside out and then top stitch it. Ooh. It really depends on your fabric. If you've got quite a flighty fabric, you can do it that way. But because this is a nice canvas, this nice strong canvas, and deliberately chosen to do bags, you know, this is doing what it was chosen to do. So let me just get this started. In fact, what I might do is just sew these handles and then get everything ready to sew the bag proper. Okay? Hello again. So, yes. I know, I'm quite glad I stopped the camera, because the reason I was doing the handles now is because I wanted to make sure that it was dry so that it would set. Okay, so the bag proper, as it were, I have my strip here, which I am going to sew around the outside of the bag. So, in a way, I've got right side to right side, and I'm sewing one panel on, and then I'm going to sew the panel on there. Now you'll notice that I'm just doing a running stitch. My plan is to go over it again with the overlocker, but I'm going to do that off screen. Now, if you don't have access to an overlocker, then zigzag, that's brilliant. Just go over it again. Or we could use our pinking shears. So, but it really is. I don't think you need a lot to make stunning garments and stunning things, you know, and to be honest, this would be a lovely present. And if you had a friend that was mad about one type of flower, then you could quite easily print off, I'm not going to say copyright from the internet, but you could, couldn't you? So, you know, you'd got a one-off present. Now I'm going to trim the excess, because obviously I measured it badly. Well, actually, I think what I did was I was going to do the print the other way round so that it wasn't too close to the edges. But, you know, it's not bad, is it? It's not bad. So I'm getting the other right side in. I'm making sure that as it's a rectangle that I've got the top rather than the bottom, so it's square. Because it's very easy with a rectangle to do them the other way around, just by pure accident. So when I'm happy, I'm laying it on top of the other piece. Of course I could pin it, and it does depend on the fabric. You know, don't think I don't pin. I do pin. I just... I once said on one of these videos that if I left the room it would still be there when I came back, and it, you know, canvas is a bit more like that. It's not got a will of its own, so it's quite happy. Okay, so making sure that my corners are correct, just keep the bag shape nice and obviously pointed as possible. Okay, so I'm coming up to the corner now. I leave my needle down, and then literally I'm going to pull the top bit over and then keep the bottom bit straight. And that just is practice, that really is. And yeah, always put your longer bit on the bottom. Going to trim just because I didn't do that very well. There we are. So we have now the bag inside out. Double check that you've got the print the right way round. Trust me, these things are magical. So what I need now is I need this little pocket on the inside of the bag, and I need to turn this over. So now I need to decide where I'm going to put the pocket, and I thoroughly recommend halfway. So if I just fold this over, then I can see that that's halfway, and then I can place the pocket there. And as it's a circle, I can sew from wherever I like. So why don't I sew from just before the pocket? Now you can measure it all out with pins, and that's great, and there's a lot to be said for that, because yeah, it just keeps it all very, very tidy, doesn't it? So all I'm doing again is I'm literally trusting the canvas, because I can, here we go. If I wanted to sew along there, I could do that. And how clear is that mark? You know, that's going to be there till I wash it. So all I'm doing now is I've got the pocket under the fold of the crease. Now with these seams, what I'm doing is I'm pushing them so they line up, because I know that I'm pulling it slightly. And rather than sew tucks in, what I'm doing is I'm letting the machine take slightly more fabric from the top than it's pulling from underneath. Now the teeth pull the fabric, and then we get the twist. So if we just make sure we line it up, then we won't have the twist all at the end. Okay, so I was just going over the seam then, and I was being a bit hard on the machine. It has had a long day, and it does need some oil. I know it does. Okay, so how simple is that? I suppose... No, I'm going to carry on actually. There we go. It does seem to be having a lot of trouble, doesn't it? A bit more tension. There we go. So I've adjusted the machine so it's got a bit less tension on the upper thread, because I've been sewing with cotton, so it's obviously having a bit more trouble with the canvas. So I'm now coming round the back of the bag, and I'm just coming to the side, so I'll be back where I started very soon. There we go. So next job is the handles. So I need to turn the bag the right way round. And I'll just push out these corners so you can see them. Now I know these transfers aren't for one hit wonders, you know. You can put them on t-shirts and you can wear them as clothes. Obviously it doesn't look very stable at the minute. Maybe you should read the instructions. Maybe I should have ironed it or something. Now I'm going to put the seam on the inside, and again I'm going to measure halfway, and you can mark this with pins. Don't think you can't. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold over these scraggy bits and then I'm going to sew. And I'm going to go with the traditional bag attachment. And I'm going to do it on the outside, so it does need to be neat. And literally I'm going to sew along the top, and then I'm going to turn the whole garment, and then I'm going to do a cross to the bottom, and then I'm going to turn the whole garment, and then I'm going to go back up to where I started. Okay, now because I've sewn over my stitches, I don't have to do the reverse stitch, but I probably will because it's quite habit. So now I've taken the time to actually measure up these handles so I know that they're the same length, and it is that little detail that does make the difference on a bag. If it just sort of sends your eyes out. So again, I could have pinned, and I've got it all lined up and then under the machine. And sometimes I use the machine as a third hand. Now because I had the seam on the inside, I know that it has to be on the inside again. And because halfway through this cross is the loose ends, then that's fine as well. So again, I'm making sure that I come right up to my stitches, and I don't need to reverse stitch because I know it's up to there. So there we are, very neat and tidy, and important to match up the other side as well. My other handle, because I've chosen to have them on the inside, again I have to have them on the inside, and measure them up. My loose ends are tucked in. And yeah, and when I'm turning this, I'm making sure that I'm not catching anything. This is the side with the pocket, so I've got to be careful that I don't actually just sew the pocket. And things do get caught up, you know, you have to be careful. And I'm just coming up to the last one now. Again, I'm going to make sure that my inside is inside, and I'm going to lie it all flat just to double check, and then fold it over, ready to start sewing. So it's definitely one of a kind. There was no real trial about those transfers. I think the next one I do, I'll just accept that I need the oven I think the iron really hot. Yeah, the next one will be easier. When I did do it through the printer though, rather than put it in the feed, I did have to feed it in myself. It wouldn't go around the feed, so. And yeah, which is fine. We can forgive it. And I was amazed actually of the colour difference between the picture and the print. Because if we look at the actual painting, it's such a different colour. So I know, and I was a bit shocked by that. But I suppose that's my own printer. That's not anything to do with the fabric or anything to do with the transfer or anything. So there we are. A tote bag. Again, I have gone for strength. I have got a little pocket here. I'm not going to fold it up and put it in the pocket, but I'm sure that would work. I just don't want to damage it actually. And yeah, my first ever go with paper transfers. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely weekend. This might not be out till next weekend. I'm trying to get a bit ahead. Friend's having a baby, so that's why I'm sitting here sewing, because I'm a bit on edge. I want her to start. She's due only in a few days, so I know. Yeah, thank you ever so much for watching.